They say good things come to those who wait. My apologies for the technical delay. Good to be with you. It's indisputable. We have a lot on the agenda today. Breaking down news of the day, none other than our dear sister, Senator Nina Turner, former Ohio State Senator, TYT contributor, all around great individual. Also, during the debate segment, we have Dave Spencer, host of Practically Political. That's a podcast. We'll talk about the Build Back Better plan and vaccine protocols. All right, we're gonna do that. Top story of today. Let me say it this way. A young black woman goes to a casino. Her ID doesn't scan, so she shows them her military ID. And her military ID, which is acceptable ID, was rejected because the guy said it was fake. There's no way a person your age can have this level of rank, and denied her entry. Here's the video.
No. You said I had a fake military ID.
That you cannot record in the casino.
But you said I had a fake military ID, right?
I'm not saying that the ID.
No, you just said that.
I'm saying that I don't think that it's you.
You don't think that this is me? This picture right here, you don't think that this is me? I have two IDs. This is my face. I'm in E6. Actually, I'm a second lieutenant now. You don't believe that I'm a second lieutenant. So what's the problem? I'm showing you my ID. This is my picture. This is a valid military ID. This is a valid driver's license. None of them are
here,
expired.
We'll do this. I'll call NOPD and then you can
call them. Call them. Please call them. Please call. Nope. Call them. Nope. Time out. Call them. No. Call them.
Once again, his remedy is to call the police on her because he's wrong. Because he doesn't want her to have entry into this casino. Really ridiculous, right? Let me give you some background to this story. Her name is Deja Harrison. Let's put up a picture of her driver's license and her ID, military ID. Let's put that picture up, okay? Clearly the same person. Same person. This was a visit to a Louisiana casino earlier this month. It escalated when an employee denied her entry, saying she was not the person on her military ID. Now, the 23-year-old US second lieutenant is pursuing legal action, News Nation now reported. On October 5th, Harrison and her stepbrother went to Harrah's, New Orleans. I don't know, that's probably how you say it. I don't gamble. To celebrate his birthday. This was supposed to be a family affair, obviously, when the electronic scanner at the casino failed to read the state driver's license. Did some research, that's actually quite routine. It happens a lot. So she showed the guard her military ID, which is acceptable according to the casino policy. He immediately looked at my rank and he was like, this ID is fake. This isn't you, and there's no way possible that you made this rank in a short period of time. Now, here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. If this would have been a young white male, would this casino guard, would this casino gatekeeper have said the same thing? Would he have said to a young white male, this is a fake military ID, there's no way that you made this rank? Let me tell you why I know this guy's lying. Because he initially said, this is not the rank. The rank is improper. Then he later said, no, the picture is improper. It doesn't look like you on the photograph. It gets deeper. Harrison, a recent graduate of Grambling State University, said the employee's remarks were hard to hear, especially after her efforts during the summer. Here's the quote. I just commissioned the summer. I just came from a 38-day training. Sleepless nights, 16-hour days, walking 12 miles a day with heavy equipment on. And I was just like, wow, this man is telling me I didn't do this. I've worked so hard to be in the military and to be where I am now. In addition, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to her showing two forms of ID, this lieutenant also showed check stubs from the United States military, still denied access, still had the police called on her. Senator Turner, young black woman, all right, trying to be, in a place of relaxation, fun, an environment to hang with the family, and then this happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's stunning in a way, but in a way not so much. The microaggressions, as she described how she was feeling about this and why that's a microaggression. The stereotyping of marginalized groups in this way and acting out on that stereotype in the way that he did. It's one thing to ID people going into the casino, that's perfectly fine. It's another thing to say that rank does not belong to her, and because of her age, she couldn't have possibly achieved all of that. Who is he to say that to her? And then, as you pointed out, Doc, the first default, it seems like the white people who think in the way that this man does and treated her in the way that he did, they always want to call the police first. It just absolutely makes no sense. And I believe she revealed that she waited 2 hours and the police never showed up. I am really glad that she has revealed how she was treated to the world, and that some heads should roll with this guy, and no other employee should treat anybody in the way that she was treated. He made this about her qualifications all the way around, more than IDing her to make sure she wasn't underage. That certainly was not his point.
Yeah, the irony is so significant here because literally you have a young overachiever. Admittedly so, she's an overachiever, not an underachiever. And she fights for protections, right? For democracy and for the protection of the nation, et cetera. She comes back domestically, and this is how she's treated by a routine check at a casino. The guy obviously is wrong. This young lady is obviously a trained personnel of the US military, and his entire premise for why he will not accept her ID is because she has achieved too much. There's no way this person has achieved what I'm looking at per documentation. And there's your discrimination. There's your bias. There's your implicit or hyper aggressive bias. It's one of them for sure, all right? Shifting gears. What if I told you there's a cop, right? And he decided to go and hump on another cop who's openly bisexual. And this other cop had to physically push this cop off of her. And guess what? It happened in front of a bunch of cops who laughed about it. We have the video now. As you watch this video, remember the video that we have access to is of an officer who did not realize he was recording this. So he doesn't catch all of it, but he catches enough for me to give you this story and give you the background. Here it is.
Throwing books.
The grown man does not say excuse me.
Jeff.
I don't know.
Everybody get it.
He likes to play hard to get.
Come on, yeah, this helps me. Yeah. Let's get some chicken.
You see the guy in the white shirt? That's a supervisor, that's a commander, okay? See the rest of them? Those are police officers as well. They have now witnessed criminal sexual assault. What was their response? To laugh at it, to make fun, to make light of it. Well, that officer who was physically assaulted has now filed a lawsuit. Openly bisexual officer in New York has sued the department. This is a town in Greenberg. 16 fellow police officers are part of this suit in an alleged pattern of sexual harassment. Her name is Christine Stein. She was treated this way routinely, according to the allegation. You just saw the video. She has not returned on duty. Let's show a picture of the officer, the young lady who filed the suit, who was harassed. There she is. And let me show you a picture of the guy who did the harassment according to the allegation. Jeff Carone. After a 2019 investigation, you know what they did to Officer Jeff? They docked him 2 weeks, 2 whole weeks of vacation time. They didn't even dock him 2 weeks of regular ass pay. They said, oh my God, he committed what? Criminal sexual assault against one of our officers. That does it. 2 weeks vacation time docked. That'll teach him. That was his punishment, okay? It gets deeper. The department disagrees with the characterization of the footage and other incidents listed in the complaint. They are defending him rather than defending her. But they said, but we can't comment on pending litigation, even though they just did. Officer Stein was leaning, over a table to collect pamphlets when police officer Jeff Carone grinded against her rear, rammed himself into her backside with his genitals, then threw her towards the middle of the room. According to the lawsuit, I want to remind you, she did this in front of a room of cops who did absolutely nothing but laugh. And then one cop says, she's playing hard to get. Okay, I want you to remember this. Now, there's another video that I'm going to show you. When the cops left, right? They started talking among themselves about what happened. Here's what they said.
Because he tries to be like the alpha, above the bosses, above everyone else. What did you went? I'm just like tossed her. I was like, oh. Even banging to me, I was like, what is he doing? Like, you had to cause a scene at everyone's roll call? Really uncalled for. I think he has a crush on her. That's what I think it is. Since the first day she got here, he had like nothing but problems.
I'm telling you, there's far more to it. He's free movement.
He tries to assert his dominance to show you if he has the penis in the relationship.
You hear that, right? They're talking about the guy who committed sexual assault. They agree what he did was inappropriate. What he did was wrong. Even another cop who's a woman says it's deeper. He's a creep. He does this with me too. Okay, everybody's in agreement. Everybody's in agreement of what this guy did. However, the cops who were in that room have all said they didn't see a damn thing. You see what's happening here? See, this is culture. This is culture. And culture will eat policy alive any day of the week. And that's what you see in operation. They don't care about the cop who was harassed. They care about the male domination of their cultural club known as policing. Numerous other incidents of inappropriate text, comments, sexual jokes, remarks, sexual solicitations, negative work assignments, silent treatment, uninvited sexual attention, displaying pornographic photos are all alleged in the suit filed in the federal court in White Plains this summer. Senator Turner, this is so deep that these cops don't give a damn about truth, justice, common sense, decency, or the law. One of their own officers sexually and criminally harassed in front of them, and they are all lying and saying they saw nothing.
And the crazy thing, Dr. Richie, is that Officer Stein has always wanted to be a police officer, for a very long time. She knew she wanted to be in law enforcement. And I believe she joined the force in 2017. And for this to happen to her, it is not just it doesn't just impact her, but it is the nature, or as you laid out, the culture of policing in America. And the chief, everybody in that room needs to be held accountable. Every single person in that room that watched that happen. And then this chief saying that he doesn't see any wrongdoing. Well, Mayor, where are you? Yeah. Because it's obvious between both videos and her statements And then also the other evidence that this man, this is what he does on a regular basis. He does this for sport. This is toxic masculinity in full view of people who have taken an oath to protect and serve. Would you want those law enforcement officers on the street? Hell to the no, you would not. So heads need to roll. And if the chief is not able to do it, obviously he's not, then the mayor needs to step in. And you're right, Doc, this is culture all day long. And you know why he's been able to continue to do this kind of stuff? Because it is acceptable from the chief all the way down.
That's right, and protected. And you're right, if they would do this to their own, if they will lie, if they will cover a criminal act, if they will talk about it freely among themselves, but write something different in an official statement. Do you think they would do it to you? Of course they will. And that's why they have to go.
That's
all right?
And Dr.
Okay.
Moore, I think if you falsify records as a police officer, it should be legal consequences.
And it is technically illegal, right? Technically. But once again, infraction, no enforcement. Yeah, okay. When I first heard this story about Donald Trump saying that Republicans should not vote in the 22 or 2024 election, I said, there he goes again. And then I thought about it more. I said, wait a minute, I may actually agree with him here, okay? So let's give you some background. Donald Trump, let me just put up the quote first. Trump has said, and I quote, if we don't solve the presidential election fraud of 2020, which we have thoroughly and conclusively documented, Republicans will not be voting in 22 or 24. It is the single most important thing for Republicans to do. I'm good with that. I'm actually okay with that. If Donald Trump is telling Republicans, do not vote in 2022 and 2024, why argue with him? All right, let me give you a little background. Much of the Republican Party actually agrees. A national CNN poll released a month ago found that most Republicans agree that the party's absurd big lie is considered an important part of their own partisan identity. Let me give you a survey that took place not too long ago. A survey of 1,552 US adults, which was conducted from July 30th to August 2nd, found that 66% of Republicans continue to insist that the election was rigged and stolen from Trump, while just 18% believe Joe Biden won fair and square. 28% of independent voters also said they think Trump was the rightful winner in the 2020 election. So Trump is now telling Republicans, do not vote in the midterm election or the next presidential election until they have figured out the fraud and fixed all of the fraud. Fine, I am not going to argue with that sentiment. Nina Turner, am I wrong here?
Oh, Doc, I saw, as somebody that is pro, and you are too, but I ran for Secretary of State in my great state of Ohio. I want to expand and protect access to the ballot box. I want more people to participate in the process, but you got a point there. This is illogical as hell. And it really shows that the Republican Party is not quite the Republican Party. It is definitely the party of Trump.
Yes.
66% of those Republicans saying that they believe that the election was stolen. And the number that troubles me the most is the stat you gave for the independents.
Yeah.
We all know the independents lean though one way or the other. So
right, that's right.
I'm very troubled by those numbers. This man is crazy. He's absolutely insane. And if they follow him on this, they insane too.
Let me tell you what happened in the state of Georgia. That rhetoric was in Georgia. Trump tried to change it. Remember when we had John Ossoff and Warnock, right? Trump tried to turn the ship around. But there were so many prominent surrogates who went around Georgia saying, if they don't do an audit right now, don't vote in the runoff election. If they don't do this, don't do that, don't vote in this runoff election. Well, guess what? That coupled with hyper voter turnout, coupled with record black voter turnout, did what? Defeated 2 Republican incumbent senators is what it did. Yeah.
This fool know. I mean, he hurting, but he don't care about nobody else. He don't care about the other Republicans, because you tell the Republicans don't vote in 22 and 24. This ain't just about you, Mr. Trump. What about them other Republicans that are on the ballot? How do they feel about the fact you tell them you just handing this thing on to the Democrats? The man is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm going to support this message all day, Senator. I'm sorry. I'm supporting this message 365. All right, we got more on the other side. Is indisputable, stick and stay.
So a lot of progressive office holders are doing something fun. I like fun. They're doing the last 2 years in 2 minutes. Okay, we're gonna try it here. First, I wanna let you guys know about the years before that. Hey, remember we started the Just Democrats here on the Young Turks. It was officially launched on our air, basically by you guys. And then we featured AOC, we featured Cori Bush, and Ro Khanna became the first ever Just Democrat incumbent, all on the Young Turks. Now, the last 2 years have been a spectacular follow-up to that. So let's put the 2 minutes on the clock and do this. Young Turks got to start back in 2002, and I think we've been an important part of the progressive movement ever since. What we mainly do is amplify the progressive voice and candidates out there, and I think we've done a pretty good job. Right now, we're currently #1 most engaged news politics network online, beating CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC, all of them. We're #1 in total minutes watched. That means not only the number of people watching, but how long they watch. We just crossed 20 million followers and 500 million monthly views. Now, why? That's because actually the country's progressive. It's 2/3 progressive. And you guys have allowed us to be your voice, and we're incredibly thankful for that. So what did we do with that voice? Well, let's look at 2019. We went all over the country talking to you guys and the candidates. So we were in Miami, we were in Detroit, we were in Houston, and we were in Iowa. In fact, we were all over Iowa. You guys were all over Iowa, and all of the candidates saw you guys. We had wonderful people speaking, like the one and only Nina Turner at our rallies. Bernie Sanders stopped by, Andrew Yang, Elizabeth Warren. We interviewed almost everyone on the campaign trail, with the exception of Biden and Buttigieg. And we held them accountable. We even did a progressive economic pledge, and so many wonderful people signed on to that. Bernie Sanders, Warren, Marianne Williamson, AOC, the entire squad, Justice Democrats, and so many others. Now, on top of all that, we started a show called The Conversation, where we featured so many progressive thinkers, writers, and candidates. And one of the candidates we featured in 2019 was Jamal Bowman. Here comes Jamal Bowman. Then we had an amazing 2020. We hired a climate reporter. Damage Report passed 500,000 subscribers. Young Turks passed 5 million subscribers. We're getting the message out to more and more people. Bernie Sanders comes on in the heat of the primary. He comes on after the election to say what we're gonna do for the future. And then Marie Newman wins. Jamal Bowman wins. Cori Bush wins. And then just when you thought it couldn't get any better, here comes Nina Turner. Hello, somebody. And she's running for Congress, and she comes on the Young Turks first. On election week, we had nearly 2 million hours of viewing. We're #1 destination for progressives. You made all that happen. This is amazing, and thank you for those 2 years. What, I went past 2 minutes? Of course!
Viewers had asked for an interview with the TYT Lizard. Mr. Lizard. Oh, you changed colors today. Nice. I don't even know how you feel about us. Do you even like us?
Well, you guys made me this awesome house, so I'm kind of in your debt. I was found outside on the street, and you gave me a home. Granted, it was a really crappy home for a while, but then through the power of fundraising, I became a person who has a multi-level Trump-style mansion.
You do. By the way, you never looked better, man. Normally, you're just green or just brown, but today you're in mid-lizard, right?
I'm not very smart. I'm a lizard, so I don't know how the science works. I guess this is just my mood. It's not every day that thresholds like this are broken. I'm just so excited. I can't contain my pigmentation.
And now you're showing it off.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never seen the lizard like this before.
All right, welcome back. We have a lot of viewer comments. Before I read these comments, I want to remind everybody tonight, all new Power Hour with our dear sister, Senator Nina Turner. Find out the hero of the week and the villain of the week. Look at that. I mean, damn. All right, also, if you want to check that out, members get full episode access live after the Young Turks, 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Sign up to become a member today. It's real simple, real quick, real easy. TYT.com/join. TYT.com/join. Or click the join button if you're watching on YouTube, okay? The conversation, don't forget, live today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, TYT.com/live. And subscribe, YouTube channel. Make that happen. YouTube.com/TYT conversation. Right after Indisputable, catch our dear sister Rayvana with Ray Actions Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern time, 1 p.m. Pacific time. That's a Twitch exclusive. Twitch.tv/TYT. Let me read these amazing comments. TYT member Just Be Anti-Racist says, no worries on the wait. Dr. Richie, you and Senator Nina Turner are definitely worth the delay. Oh, that's very nice of you. Thank you for that. YouTube super chat. Jill Wagner. Always look forward to seeing you, Nina, on Indisputable. From a proud Cleveland girl. Keep making us proud. Lovely. Forbesilla, I was the only girl working at a gas station for a while. I never had anything like that. Not one of those men ever tried to touch me. They were much more respectful than those cops ever will be. Yeah. All right. It seems like people, many, when they put on their uniform, they take out their soul. They set all of their values aside because there is no environment. There is no environment on this planet or off of this planet. No job, nothing. I don't give a damn who I'm around. If you do that in front of me, you will be checked, period. Absolutely no hesitation whatsoever. They laughed, made fun, and then went outside like cowards. Man, that was so wrong what he did. I mean, that was just so inappropriate. Why does he always do that? Cowards, every single one of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I wish a Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free. Back off! I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
First off, we have break-ins to your cars.
They broke into my car.
They did? Well, I'm sorry.
Of course, they broke into my car 5 times. Hi, I live here. I've been living here for about 5 years. And then Karen walked up to me just now and she was pestering me about what I'm doing following her. What am I doing? She came all the way to my car, and now did you call security yet?
Yeah, I called one of the officers, yeah.
What did he say?
He didn't answer. I was trying to leave a voicemail.
You want me to help you call security?
Sure.
How long y'all been living here?
Go right ahead, call security.
How long y'all been living here?
It doesn't matter how long.
You got anything to say or no? You just.
I got my car broken into.
I don't give a.
A month ago.
I don't give a. I pull in here where I pay $1,700 a month.
First off, sir, the description was exactly what you're wearing. And then you have a backpack.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So the description was me of the person that broke into your car?
Yeah. The hoodie, everything.
They had on a pink hoodie when they were breaking in?
Why? I just mentioned it. I apologize.
They had on a pink hoodie, black nails, and a backpack.
It's like content creating. Don't raise your voice.
I mean, she did this. I'm not content creator. I'm a influencer. If I wanted to, you'd be finished. Weird. If you raise your voice, no. What if I get more likes? I get more likes if a white woman walks up to me and asks me what I'm doing in my apartment.
White, thank you.
She's not white. All right.
I'm not thank you very much.
She's Mexican. All right. Good day, Karen, and whoever the you are, goof.
You know, I really hate that people who are in these situations, they have to almost justify their existence. He never should have to tell people how much he has to pay in rent. He never should have to volunteer that he has lived at his residence for a number of years. He shouldn't have to do that. And then explain his innocence when he's guilty of absolutely nothing. And think about the irony of this Karen encounter. She said, well, a month ago or whatever the time was, her car was broken into. And that was the description. So you mean to tell me that people that break into cars, one, wear pink hoodies? I mean, that's quite noticeable. And the hoodie was an anti-racism hoodie, if you noticed it, which is great irony there. But if we follow the logic of this Karen, she believes that a thief has returned to the scene weeks later in the same damn outfit as before. You see how her story just crumbles apart? Oh, and he had on a backpack. He had the audacity to walk around in a hoodie and a backpack. That's obviously a criminal. He's a black man, pink hoodie, backpack. What else is she going to think, right? Damn shame. And the guy standing there, he knew. He knew. He's all, just lower your voice. Senator Turner doesn't sound like a thief that I would think of. Wouldn't be a smart thief to do something like that.
No, especially to return to the scene of the alleged crime. Doc, I'm telling you something, we can't make this stuff up. So the new criminal uniform, first of all, always black male with that pink hoodie, baby, and that backpack.
That did it.
Uniform. And then when he said, or I don't know if it was her or the person with her, she ain't white. Okay, yeah. Karens can come in all ethnicities and races.
That's right.
We're gonna lay that out because it's a mentality.
Right.
So no, it's not just white people who are anti-black. There are other people who are anti-black. And if she wasn't white, picking up them tendencies is definitely not a good thing. But you're right, the type of humiliation that he had to endure is the type of humiliation that our foremothers and forefathers had to endure because of black codes and Jim Crow. And even when the implicit, explicit biases, de facto and de jure discrimination. Doc, we can have a whole show on that. I'm just gonna leave it there. It is an absolute insult, and these are the kinds of stressors that black people have to endure on a regular basis, and it works your damn nerve, physically, mentally, and spiritually. And I don't think people get that. You wanna make light of that. The difference between what happened to him and what happened to our foremothers and forefathers is that we got camera phones.
That's it, we can document it a lot easier than they could, and that's why we exposed it to the broader world. It's a strategy behind that. There's a guy, Senator Turner, he was begging to be made famous. He's calling a young man the N-word. He's screaming white power. Here he is, double dose.
You wanna call the police on him for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free, back off! I'm gonna tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life.
Say it again. Say that part again.
Come back.
Say it again. Say that other word again.
Come on.
Where you live? Hey, where you live? Where you live? You lucky you don't have a license plate. I'll follow you all the way where you. Yep. Say less.
You're a bitch ass punk.
Yep.
Yeah, I know you are.
Okay.
That's why you're here, because you love white people so much.
Right. Anything else?
You want to be white, don't you?
Anything else? Anything else?
Keep following me.
What's your name? Get the camera again. Say it again. One more to the camera. Talk about your power. Say it to the camera one more time. Say it one more time to the camera. Say it again.
White power. Go back to Africa.
White power and go back to Africa after repeatedly calling this man the N-word. Let's put up a picture. We got a screenshot. I want people to clearly see what he looks like. We saw a lot of his back as he walked away. There he is, boom. Okay. This encounter took place in Seattle. Keep that picture up. And was recorded and uploaded by a guy named Kyle Daniels, also known as KD Cuts, who is an artist and producer. Daniels told the Daily Dot that he was walking out of a community center when he heard a man yell, "White power." TikToker Tizzy Ent, for entertainment, identified the male Karen as Michael Slauson, the son of an LA Superior Court judge. In 2017, CNN reported on a man who was falsely accused of sending threatening voicemails and calls to mosque in Southern California. Michael Slauson was identified as the caller. According to this TikToker, also found that Slauson was charged with making criminal threats and attended a pretrial hearing in September. On his YouTube channel, Michael Slauson posted a video in which he is talking over a photo slide of the Central District area in Seattle. That video has been removed for violating YouTube's policy on hate speech. Daniels assumes that their encounter happened as he was taking photos of the diverse mural and artwork in the area. Slauson recites in the video that these murals of historically black figures is an example of the country being taken away from white people and given to black people. So literally, you have a young black male taking a picture of a mural dedicated to diversity and black accomplishment, and here comes Mr. White Power. Just had to say something. Now he's famous again. Senator Turner, what are your thoughts?
Take a history course, first of all. Fundamentally, he needs to understand who took the country from whom. And the country belonged to our indigenous sisters and brothers and family and friends. Let's go and get that straight. That's and right. Why they always, people who think like this man, always quick to tell us to go back to Africa. Are you going back to Europe? I mean, hello, somebody. Jesus Christ, these people, Doc. I'm telling you, you get me wound up every week, and I just don't like it. What you know,
it's so interesting that many of them, especially limited mental individuals like him, they don't have the capacity to understand things like traveling over the Caucasus Mountains. That's why you're called Caucasian. They don't know these historical realities connected to their own ancestry. So they'll say things like, "Go back to your own country," when we know one fact for sure.
Right. First of all, Africa's a continent with about
right. They don't get it.
They don't get that straight. And Doc, I know it would just blow his mind if he understood mitochondrial DNA, that all life originated on the continent, baby, of Africa. Hello, somebody.
See, let me tell you something, sister. We can have a whole show about the origin of humanity and how you can't take his color of skin and graft it to blackness, that the human species, and this is scientifically documented, started from a black woman, the cradle of civilization on the continent of Africa. That'll blow his mind. And let me tell you something else that blows their mind. It's really interesting because many of these individuals will subscribe to a Christian ideology, right? And I'm a Christian man myself. And I had this guy call my radio show one day, Senator. And I asked him the question, do you believe in white Jesus or black Jesus? And he said, it doesn't matter. And I said, yes, it does when you have to correct the historical narrative, because white Jesus has been utilized to promote an ideology of white supremacy and black inferiority. So we got to correct the message. And I told him, I said, you do realize that you worship an African God? And he said, oh, no, not at all. That's not possible. I said, where was the first place God in the Christian Bible revealed himself? He said, Egypt. I said, where is Egypt, sir? It's in Africa. All right, mind blown. Okay, we got more on the other side. It's indisputable, stick and stay.
You're about to watch some behind the scenes footage of the Young Turks. Ooh. Now, these are partial videos. If you want to get all of them, you become a member. Go to tyt.com/join, and you'll get all the behind the scenes of me, Anna, John, JR, a little bit reality show like. tyt.com/join, and enjoy this.
You know what you're seeing behind me? Jersey. Hold. Watch me flip this camera. However I flip it. Do I flip it like this? No, I just took a picture. I'm bitzing right now.
What?
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay. For members? I don't have my face on.
She doesn't have her face on, folks. Oh, that's JR's ass right there.
You can't take 5 minutes off, can you?
No, I can't, Johnny Pie. I said it was live stream, but I was lying. It's not a live stream. It's just for members.
Bitsy, this is my cat. You know what his name is? Kiki Cat.
Animals are innocent.
Control room and the insanity is obviously there.
Right now, as you can see, I'm directing or tech directing.
I'm so happy to be here.
This is what like a Labor Day beard looks like for Cenk. Man, you're a young tourist viewer if you recognize me like this.
Oh, thank you. You are the one person in my life I would love to meet.
What's going on, guys? This is a Bitsy or a BTS or behind the scenes with Hassan Piker, aka Woke Bay.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
I have finished my show, The Damage Report, and now I get into a really awkward time of the day.
When I'm sitting, the control room is right there. So I can see Bart.
And this is the Pittsburgh office, by the way. Referred to often as the boiler room.
You see how it's ripped? Is it super unprofessional to wear that at a business meeting? Or am I like cool, rebel?
I just finished doing the power panel and I'm fired up.
What do you do for TYT?
Not a whole lot.
If you're frantically tweeting at us that something's broken, thank you, because I'm fixing it.
And thank you for being a TYT member.
Super last thing, because there's always got to be a super last thing. Oh, that was disastrous. This has been behind the scenes, behind the scenes.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I gotta let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know, maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it, though.
Climate is changing fundamentally, extremely, and non-linearly. It's becoming worse now. It's not when the levees burst that is the problem. It's in the anticipation of that.
So I hope every human being is safe. And by human beings, I do not include multinational corporations, especially the ones that started climate change in the first place.
What we're currently doing right now in cutting emissions is clearly not enough. There will be ramifications to what Trump is doing. I don't want people to suffer, but I feel like there's gonna be a lot of suffering because we have an imbecile as our leader.
All right, welcome back. We got a lot of show left. TYT member Just Be Anti-Racist says, I'm Mexican, I can't be racist. It's like saying, my best friend is black. Cray souffle. Pink Panther taking on non-white Karens everywhere. Trador, Dr. Richie, I want you guys to see what he looks like. Me, I know, he's ugly, see picture, yep, ugly. Super chat, Marjorie Donat. Dude is aching to catch a hate crime charge. Yep. Twitch. Kentucky AP_PDX. The boyfriend wants her to stop, but knows if he does, he will die later by her hands. Yeah. Drew in Georgia. The reason Americans never learn from our history is because America never teaches its actual history. It's a very good point. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, my next story. Have you seen Black American flags? Do you know what they mean? Well, it could mean danger, okay? Let me give you some background. Trump supporters are waving all Black American flags, and here's why you should be nervous if you see one in your community. This is a troubling new development. These flags are popping up everywhere. Let's show a picture of the flag so you see what it looks like. I want you to be informed about what they mean when you see them, okay? A post from liberal opinion site Living Blue in Texas is warning about the meaning of the black flags and the Republican-led fascist support for terror campaigns and political violence. On the post, are your Republican neighbors planning on killing you? It lays it down, all right? Black American flags are the flags that mean no quarter shall be given. I want you to remember that saying, that's very important. They are the opposite of the white flag of surrender. The Black American flag originated in the Civil War and was flown by the Confederates. It means they will not surrender, will not take prisoners, and are willing to die for their cause. It means they will execute, kill, slay, murder their enemies. An alarming number of military members have been making TikTok videos talking about how they are being discharged because they refused the vaccine. It's alarming because there is probably an equal number of guys on there talking about the Civil War plans and actively using TikTok to recruit these military and ex-military members. The Oath Keepers is one of those such groups. Why are their enemies? Pretty much any non-conservative. Well, who are their enemies? Any non-conservative. Democrats, liberals, LGBTQ, BIPOC, and the vaccinated. So we're the enemy. And they're openly professing to want to execute us. Put up the flag again. Ladies and gentlemen, if you see this flag, understand what it means. Understand what's behind it, the mentality, the psychology. This is now being used not only to recruit, but to also identify who they are, all right? Troubling to say the least. Let me take you to another troubling situation. A black male and a white male, both motorists. The black man gets shot. That's him. His name is Bobby Gale. He gets shot several times. He just asked somebody to slow down. That's it. In an apparent hate crime that was captured on surveillance video, this was in Stockton, California, last week. This video is very short, but it is graphic. No sound is with this video, it's a surveillance video. But here's what happened. Wow. Okay. Bobby Gale was shot 7 times Bobby's brother, Marlon Gale, said in a statement, and I quote, "He was driving in the wrong direction. He almost hit my brother and his friend. And so my brother said, hey, slow down. And that's when a guy got out of his car and started saying the N-word and shooting my brother." Marlon Gale said, as he described, that his brother recalled happened that night. And we were just like, wow, he was trying to kill my brother. Bobby Gale was found on the ground and was rushed to the hospital. His family said he's now recovering after being shot 7 times. My brother, he's a hardworking man and he's loved by everybody. And I'm glad that this is something that didn't take his life. That's according to the brother, Marlon. Stockton police confirm they're now investigating the shooting as a possible hate crime and have contacted the FBI and the California Department of Justice. Very brazen act of violence that obviously we don't condone, says Stockton Police Chief James Kraska. The shooter was described as a white male in his 30s. They are now putting up an award. Reward is $10,000 to lead to the arrest, any information leading to the arrest. We will continue to follow that story because it is a developing story of an actual hate crime, not a possible one. He used racial slurs before trying to kill an African-American male. All right. Okay, I got something for you. What in the red state hell?
You can take a gun, shoot somebody in the face. It's not hard. Sometimes it might even be fun if they're a godless commie.
Now, what they're trying to do is sneak the COVID vaccine in your salads.
I hate math. Somebody say amen.
Racism alive and well. Amazing.
Sure is. It's disgusting when black people got it too.
Really?
Really.
You called me a I just supposed to sit back, huh?
Sure did. You scared the kids.
You called me a I just supposed to sit back.
Did. You scared out of my kids.
By starting my car.
Wow.
Wow, you got your kids cursing at me too, huh?
Don't talk to my kids.
Wow, this is amazing.
Do not talk to my kids.
Okay.
Hello? Talk to this now. I am telling you, he's video recorded me. He scared out of Anthony, started in the car. He wanted to run his mouth talking about BB and the trashy mother. Say
really?
Something to him
I said
now.
that.
He's got me on videotape and I'm still flipping the out.
You called me a
I called you. You're a nasty.
Okay. You might want to get
because he's a loser. That's why he thinks he's going to get something out of it.
Oh no, Warner. I don't sue people.
Oh, he knows the cops. How many cops have I stripped for? You ain't getting fired, bitch.
Okay.
Tell him, dude. You will kill him. Don't even. I'm telling you right now.
That's very, very good.
I his ass out the car.
Please do.
And tell him what? He's a racist. All right, you're done. My lawyer's involved.
Good. Thanks.
Stay here. My husband's coming.
Okay.
You're done. My lawyer's involved. Stay here. My husband is coming. Using profanity, calling this man the N-word, and then calling him racist. One of the kids calls him the B word. This is the example this mother is setting for her children. Okay. Now, what in the red state hell does not mean you must be in a red state in order to qualify for this segment. But if you act as if your ass belongs in a red state, then you can qualify for this segment as well. We believe this actually happened in Buffalo. But what's interesting about this encounter is that during the entire ordeal, she believes that this man is actually racist against her, or at least that's the narrative. Now, how did this start? According to the story, he simply turned on his car. You know, when you turn on a car, it makes noise. If somebody's around it, has a loud engine, it may startle somebody. Well, it startled one of her children. And for that, he qualified for the N-word abuse of this particular person. Here's why this is important to talk about and understand in a social context. It's not just about grown people. It's also about how they're treating and training the next generation. Do you think one of her children will end up calling black people the N-word? Likely. Do you think they will be biased and racist against black and brown people, folks that don't look like them? Probably. Why? Because they were taught the wrong way. So what do? We have an obligation to correct the narrative, and that's what we do here on Indisputable. All right, we got more on the other side. The Bullpen is next. Stick and stay.
I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken when I first got my license, like 17 years old or 17, 18, whatever it was. And I'm driving, I think, my dad's Oldsmobile. And I parked it in a place where there was two cars next to me, really tight spot, and a car behind me. I don't even know how I got in there because I'm a terrible driver. Back then I was an even worse driver. And on the roads I'm okay, but in parking spots I have terrible spatial reasoning and I'm a mess. And on my way out, I hit all three cars at once. I broke all records, okay? So I went, as I'm backing out, I went boom, oh and this side hit that car, this side hit this car, and the back hit the third car, okay? And I got stuck. I didn't know how to get out. Like, I went, okay, for this, and then I'm like, no, and then, right? And then finally I had to stop, go inside the KFC and go, I'm sorry, I hit a bunch of your cars. They're like, what do you mean a bunch of your cars? I'm like, I don't know.
Wow, there's a B?
Yeah, I'm like, I hit 3 cars. I don't know, so you guys gotta come help me, okay? Okay, so one, my bad, really sorry about that. Okay, number 2, can someone take my car out? Because I don't wanna keep hitting your cars and I'm incapable of taking it out of this spot.
Now baby, move that fat, baby, move that fat.
Hi, I'm Brett Ehrlich with Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. This is Breaking News with Brett Ehrlich. Hi, Brett Ehrlich here. According to EPA head Scott Pruitt, climate change is not happening. He cited a meme on Facebook he saw. When pressed to back up this source, he said it must be accurate because the watermark said it was made by a scientist. So, your move, Truth.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning and that weren't afraid to say, hey, this is something that is legitimate.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
Brent Welder is very progressive Democrat. He's a just Democrat. In fact, uncorrupted, not going to take big corporate PAC money. When did you start watching the show and when did you become a member?
So I've been watching for 10 years, an active viewer, but also more importantly, getting out there with causes like Wolfpack.
By the end of our campaign, we had organized about 22,000 individual contributions with an average about $27 a piece. And those initial people were a lot of TYT supporters as well.
In looking at the world in a very different way than corporate media does.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
Thank you, Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks.
Thank you to TYT and all the progressives around the country that have our backs.
You know, the first and only interviews that we had tonight to be with the Young Turks as well, because you guys have been here from the very beginning, and that's what this night is all about.
And I thank Cenk very much for the very good work that he does.
Thank you so much for all in this together, and the people are so powerful, and we're gonna get it done.
Thank you for your constant support.
It's a pleasure to be with rebels. I like that.
For all of the help that you've given to the Just Democrats, to Wolfpack, to help fellow progressives, thank you guys, to all the Young Turks members that make it possible.
Hey, this is Edwin. Most of you might recognize me, well, not me, mostly my laugh from the main show.
I mean, it's gonna be hard to get the Uygur maneuver on him.
And today, my talent is Rubik's Cubes. You gotta forgive me, it's been at least 5 years since I competed. So that's why I'm actually going pretty slow. Watch this.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bullpen. In the Bullpen today, a favorite actually of mine, we have Mr. Dave Spencer, host of Practically Political. It is a podcast, very popular podcast. Born in New York as a member of the Rockefeller family. He's the grandson of John D. Rockefeller III, very accomplished individual, and actually has significant common sense in an era of crazy. My brother Dave, good to have you on the show. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Doc. Great to be with you again.
Absolutely. All right, we're gonna chop it up about Build Back Better and the vaccine protocols as well. We don't have as much time as I would want to have. I don't want to presume what you know, believe about any of the vaccine protocols or the Build Back Better plan, but give me your sentiment about both of those.
Well, I think the Build Back Better plan is good. As I've told you before, I think on our last show, I really wish that the Dems would pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill first, then come back and pass the 3.5 or 1.5 or whatever it ends up being spending bill later, because I think the president needs a win. I think it's important to have the momentum going, and things can be done through reconciliation. And I believe that would also help get, obviously, Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, whom you need to have this done. So that's my recommendation. I know people don't always agree with me, but I think that's strategically the best way to accomplish as much as the Democratic Party needs. And the president needs a win. His approval ratings are really going down. And if they don't improve, the midterms next year are going to be ugly.
Yeah, I agree with you that the midterms are going to be ugly. I actually appreciate progressives holding Joe Biden to his original campaign promise. I understand the strategy of that. Let me give you an example of something that's a very granular detail that many people aren't talking about, but I'm sure you can appreciate it. Inside of the spending proposal, the budget was set initially where HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, they were expecting 40 billion plus, okay? There was a lot of behind the scenes talk. There was some public conversation about it. Many in the Congressional Black Caucus, they trusted the administration. You remember our vice president of the United States has a whole degree from an HBCU. This was a done deal. HBCUs always put on the back burner, but one of the most important institutions in the United States of America for the black community, right? Well, that number, brother, went from over 40 billion to under 2 billion, okay? Now, here's what's happening. You have individuals, not even connected to HBCUs, but somebody who either is connected to an HBCU, educated them, somebody who may be HBCU trained, educated, they mentor them, or they work with them at their job. There's not really a black person in America not connected to an HBCU in some shape, form, or fashion, right? That is going to be significantly detrimental when you are looking at black folk to come out for you in a hyper turnout. And we don't exist in a silo, brother. Black community we have coalitions. We have others that are connected to us. Just imagine what would happen if you allowed that 40 plus billion to actually get passed under 2 billion. One, the Republicans are going to run commercials about, hey, black folks, look at what Joe Biden did not do for you and look what he promised he would, right? And then you have the coalitions that are connected to those black communities. I think it's more of a political mistake to not listen to some of the more progressive push of the Democratic Party, especially when it comes to direct funding for programs like HBCUs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, you bring up, I think, a bigger, larger, important point, and that is, I think it's a mistake to talk numbers, trillions of dollars. I think you ought to talk programs, and this gets into what I've been saying for a long time. When Democrats talk about things like education, healthcare, the economy, jobs, childcare, there's very little daylight between Trump voters and them when they talk about things like defunding the police or Medicare for all or abortion or immigration or other stuff. There's a lot of daylight. So I would suggest that, yes, let's focus on education. Let's focus on things like childcare. Let's focus on pre-K. But for example, look, I'm a big believer in climate change. I think the carbon problem is very real. But most people, including yours truly, don't think the government should be paying for charging stations across the country. That should be a private sector thing. And climate change is not an issue that most Americans think is as urgent right now as some of these other ones. So I think it's getting down to prioritizing. But I think if you talked about education, the individual programs, now they're gonna help so many African American students, I think that would be a winner, yes. And I think the money would be approved.
Talk about it in terms of return on investment is your conclusion, right? You can't talk about it in terms of just general money and what the spend is, but you talk about it in terms of investment, programming, revenue, investment coming back to the turning back to the community, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people, you say these numbers in the abstract, and I don't think people often understand how large these numbers are, whether it's 1.5, 3.5. But when you talk about individual programs, when you talk about how you're going to help people's education, when you talk about how childcare is going to allow women to go back to work, when you talk about how pre-K is going to help kids, particularly in underserved communities, get a better education and achieve the American dream, that's the stuff that people are going to relate to.
Dave, you know and I know Democrats have been historically horrible at messaging. Has been one of their greatest downfalls in the arena of politics. And Republicans, they are able to message not only in the middle of a lie, but especially when it's a lie. I mean, when it's untrue, that's when Republicans do their best messaging work, period, right? Let me read some of the things that the Build Back Better plan would do. And these are the general ideas and the general policies, but truly they benefit a lot of Americans, regardless of party affiliation. It lowers the cost of childcare. It lowers the cost of actual higher education, including technical training. It lowers the cost of prescription drugs. It lowers the cost of healthcare. It lowers the cost of housing. It actually does cut taxes, not shift. It cuts taxes for families with children. It invests in a major way in workforce training, workforce and workforce development, something that Republicans have been pushing kind of in lieu of college education. It's in the bill. It's all in the bill. Republicans, Democrats, much of this stuff they actually agree with, right? What's the disconnect, brother? Okay, looks like we lost Dave. We're gonna try to get Dave back. All right, give us a second. We're having a technical issue. We'll be right back. All right, let me apologize. We were not able to get Dave back on the line, just a technology issue. It happens. He is traveling and the connection did not last, but we will bring Dave back. Dave Spencer is a remarkable human being, even though we do disagree on some politics. Let me remind you, Reaction with Rayvana, that's happening right after Indisputable. And, oh man.
I'm
Look
sorry,
at that.
can you hear me now? I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to my connection here.
Dave, you're like a damn genie, man. You just popped up.
I am so, I don't know what happened, but the connection, all of a sudden, the last thing I heard was it was in the bill. I'm so sorry for.
We got like 1 minute. So I posed the question to you that many of the ideas that are part of the Build Back Better plan are truly in its nature outside of politics bipartisan. But in this world we're living in, everything is partisan, right? These are things that typically Democrats and Republicans, if not leadership, definitely voters agree with. What's the disconnect between the messaging here?
Well, I think this is a problem that the Democrats have had. And as I said before, Republicans, for better or worse, understand power, how to use it, whether it's very manipulatively, unfairly, like stealing a Supreme Court seat or whatever. They say, well, this has never been tried before. Gee, let's try it. Whereas I think a classic example you're seeing is with Democrats on this whole subpoena thing. Steve Bannon doesn't have any right to claim immunity. If he resists a subpoena, they should send marshals to his door. Democrats have the power to do this. Same thing with the debt ceiling. You know, hold a vote every day that Mitch McConnell refuses to go along. And I think it's important also on certain issues like Medicare, for example, prescription drugs. Everyone wants to lower the price of prescription drugs, but there are Democrats like Kurt Schrader in the House who's against it. And the same thing with the tax plan. Chuck Schumer doesn't want to get rid of the carried interest loophole, which is one of the most egregious giveaways to the wealthy. So I think there's a messaging problem, and I think sometimes the bills don't really come out to represent the little guy. But having said that, I think there's a real opportunity, if the messaging is correct, to fill a void, because the Republican Party doesn't stand for anything now except a vessel for the special interest of corporations and our wealthy donors. If Democrats can get the messages right, you guys can be the dominant party, particularly with the Senate races that are coming up, because 22 is going to be close, but 24 is going to be ugly. Because remember, in 2018, you got 18 million more votes for Democratic senators, and you still lost 2 seats, and there's no ticket splitting anymore.
Yeah, very well said. Dave, we'll have you back on the show. Always appreciate your insight. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I really appreciate the audio problems. I'm sorry about the audio. Always great to be with you.
Absolutely, brother. The feeling is very mutual. All right, remember, Reactions with Rayvana is next. Make sure, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.